All right, we are out here in the shop again, slamming in some work on the Turbo LS street truck build. We have been moving and grooving with this thing. We've gotten tons of work done already. There's still a bit to do, but yeah, I was starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We don't have a whole metric ton left. We're cruising along, moral of the story. And we're gonna keep cruising along until we get this thing done. So that's what we're doing today. What we're gonna start with, intercooler piping. So last episode, we got the intercooler mounted, we got the radiator and the core support all in, we got that all figured out, we got our tank mounted, our turbos on. Now we just need to go from A to B, turbo to intercooler to throttle body. So that's what we're gonna start with. We've got a pretty tight gap to snake the piping through, but we did some massaging and some moving, and I think with some more cutting, we're gonna be able to make this work. So, enough jibber jabber. Enough jibber jabber shirts for anyone interested, garageofco.com. Let's get into it. All right, so we've just been kind of unboxing all the material I ordered to build our intercooler piping, exhaust, and everything. So we've got all this stuff from Mishimoto. So they not only make, drop-in intercoolers, universal intercoolers, drop-in radiators, fans, etc., all that stuff, but they now make pretty much all the ancillary stuff. We've got a bunch of heat shielding, we've got couplers, we got V-bands, we got hose clamps, we got, just raw piping for the intercooler and the exhaust. We got a little bit of everything. And we have a few options on how to do this, and I'm a little on the fence. I don't know which way I want to go. So we can either connect everything with just silicone. We can use these, which is what I used on the Zafiro. I really like these. They're kind of a hard connection, but they have a lot of flexibility. There's O-rings and they can move quite a bit. So it's kind of a cross between the silicone and this. This is an aluminum V-band, so this is a solid, completely fixed way to mount something. So this is going to have no flexibility in it. Now, we wouldn't really want to run this unless we were running a motor-plated engine that wasn't going to move. But our setup's going to move, so if we do use these, we need to use them sparingly. I think we're going to start off the end tanks with the silicone couplers. Keep it simple, keep it easy to access, and then we'll probably mix these in somewhere. We got to make the pipe two pieces or whatnot, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's just start building. We need to start cutting, fitting, you know the drill. All right, we got to clearance this pipe just a little bit. All right, we got this pipe in pretty good. I cut it a little bit shorter, and we scalloped it just a little bit there. I need to extend that a little further, but it clears. The headlight's got movement, so that does put us kind of too far this way to make the 90 into here. So we're gonna have to kind of bend it back this way, straighten it out, and then we should be able to go into a silicone 90 here. Hopefully it gets here soon. So now we're moving on to this side. So first issue with this side is this thing is in the way, the power steering cooler. It's right where the outlet is. So what we're gonna do is notch this some, cut this off, and just shove it back behind or next to the AC condenser here, and then we should have clearance to run our pipe. Now that's just the first of our troubles. We got a bunch more obstacles to clear, but one step at a time. I don't care, dude. And ideally we'll come in and kind of angle up, come up between here and here. All right, well, we're cruising right along. We got the intercooler piping past the core support, which was most definitely the biggest hurdle for a full-size truck. It's a pretty tight squeeze to get past everything. The headlights were kind of the biggest nuisance. We still got to do a little clearancing. This one's a little cattywampus. We beat that pipe in pretty good, and it's still touching just a bit, but we got through. We got past the core support. Definitely the biggest challenge. So this side, pretty straightforward. This pipe can be one piece because we can snake it in from the top. We should have plenty of room. This side, however, we're not really gonna be able to snake in any more than this U-bend. So we're gonna go ahead and make it 2 pieces starting here from where we're gonna continue on. And rough game plan is to kind of come up, run along here, maybe have a bracket, and then boom, into the throttle body. So yeah, we basically need to go from legit A to B now. You know, we got from A to B with some roadblocks. We need to go just from A to B, virtually no obstructions. Just keep in mind a few things like where the fans are gonna be and such. So enough jibber jabber, let's get back to work. Let's start doing some welding. All right, so here's what we've got so far. We got these bead rolled. Went ahead and cut this back because again, we got to jog over. Got the quick connect clamp welded on this side, and then that's bead rolled, so that's all good. That's in. So now we need to go from there to there, which is gonna be, it's gonna be a little tight. We can cut this back probably another inch without getting too far into the bend, but this is where the pie cuts are gonna come in to get us from there to there. So let's start taping. Look at that. That was pretty easy. Obviously we'll have to cut this shorter. I just left it long so we could kind of rest it in there. Help with mock-up. I like that though. I'm happy with that. All right, got our intercooler pipe tacked up. Really happy with how these pie cuts fit. For being pie cuts I made, they fit together. Mint, had to have a pie cut section on there. We couldn't really have used a 90. We wouldn't have got a tight enough arc, and you know, I enjoy pie cuts. I enjoy welding. So, you guys may be wondering why the Fummins is in here. Well, old host Juanito is working on changing the AC evaporator core. So, I had an AC leak for a few months now. It seemed like it was a really slow leak at first. Topped it off, everything seemed good. A couple weeks later, low again. Then it was like every week it was low. I'd have to fill it up before a trip, then it'd be fine. The last trip we took down to the Freedom Factory, filled it up before we left because it had been a couple weeks. Literally before we left to go home that night, completely empty. So, yeah, it was one of those things, we had to do it. I'm real excited to see what this, man, that thing looks grimy. Josue, you gotta do the honors. You did all the work to pull all this crap out. Heater core looks mint. Oh. We got another heater core just cause. For the pièce de resistance. And see if we got UV dye all over it. So this is, oh yeah. You can see it all right there. Look at that, dude, this thing is soaked. Yeah, because you could smell it in the truck.
The backside of it.
Whoo, and it's caked. Oh, this is gonna be a nice improvement.
There she is.
One of those things you're like, man, if we go through all this trouble, and that's not even it.
If it looked like the heater core.
Right, like mint. Yeah, no, it definitely was our problem.
Totally worth it.
You can see all the dye right there.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about it, because I have dye in the system, and I checked every other line. You know, at first I was like, I welded up and built my own AC lines for this truck, because it's a Cummins and a Ford with a Dodge compressor Ford system, and I assumed that one of my welds was leaking or something. One of the things I touched. Now, of course, all the things I touched were good, which is good, but bad, because the only other thing it could have been was that. And like I said, you started to smell it when the leak started happening, and then it got like real bad. So, finally happening, thankfully. All right, we got this pipe pretty well completely done. All we got to do is wait till the coupler comes in, figure out exactly where we want to cut it, bead roll that end, and we are done and dusted. Still got plenty of room for our fans. Really happy with how that came out. It's always so satisfying when you finish an A to B project like that. So now we just got to do the other side. Got my tape ready, got my pie cuts ready. Let's get to it. Key is to try to get this pipe out without knocking off all my pie cuts. Oh. Look at that. All right, got our pipe all tacked up. We're gonna need to put a straight section on here, but I wanted to get this stuff tacked without putting the weight of a straight taped on there. So we got that all tacked. Figure out our straight length, tack that on, weld it all up. All right, so one of my big reasons for doing pie cuts, one, you get to work in 3 dimensions, so you can make the fit perfect. You can get the pipes exactly where you want it because you have a chance every inch to go any combination of directions. 2, though, it's good weld practice. I only really weld when I'm welding stuff for myself, which I'm not doing anywhere near every day. But I end up shooting myself in the foot, and I just rush through it once I'm welding it. So I'm going to try to take this opportunity to try some things and learn. It might look inconsistent, but that's kind of the whole point of doing it like this. All right, everything fits good. Pull this back out, tack it, weld it, clean it up, bead roll it, and then we'll be pretty much done with intercooler piping for now, at least. All right, intercooler piping completely done and dusted, aside from waiting on the 2 couplers. We got a 90 coming for here, and then a 3 to 3.75 inch for here, but everything fits perfect. This pipe is literally perfect, and we got plenty of flexibility at the joint, so that worked out. I went ahead and cut it and bead rolled it. I left it a little long just in case we want to cut it short, but I think that should be about right. I was just tired of it being jammed up in the throttle body. But overall, I'm really happy with how they came out. It was fun to kind of experiment with the welding, and yeah, came out solid. For being able to fit this giant radiator and still get our piping through, solid. So that's all done. One of the big fab projects out of the way. Josue is finishing up the AC evaporator core swap. We got the AC system charged, coolant system bled and filled. It's holding pressure, held vacuum, so on and so forth. So now you just got to finish putting the interior back together. Hopefully the big truck is good for a little while. I do want to do injectors on this thing at some point soon, but one project at a time. I'm just glad that that's done. See just how nasty this thing was. Completely caked. You can see all the dye. Like, it was bad. It was real bad. So, one of those things. Big, satisfying project to have out of the way. All right, well, as far as the tow rig, the Fummins is concerned, it is all back together and squared away. Test drove it, all seems well. AC is working like a champ. Coolant levels are good. Everything seems to check out. So we got it hooked back up to the trailer because we were going drifting this weekend, which is super exciting. Nice big fast road course. So we'll that'll be a good test to make sure it's all squared away, done and dusted. Hopefully there's no more Freon leaks. I mean, the evaporator core was definitely leaking, and I couldn't find any leaks elsewhere, so as long as we didn't screw anything up, I think we should be okay, but time will tell. So, back to the truck. Luckily, just in the nick of time, we have our couplers. They're finally in, so stoked on that. I really wanted to finalize this intercooler piping, and we just got these in like 2 minutes ago, so let's get them on and see how this looks fully sorted. These are the caps that came with the intercooler for these. I was really hoping I didn't have to leave you guys with without finishing this proper. Oh, that's a little tight. May have been able to use a 4-inch after all. All right, whew, it was a little bit of a fight, but we got it on. All right, sweet. Check it out. Intercooler piping done and dusted officially. Obviously, we still got to put the clamps on, but all the piping is in and fully connected. Out of the turbo, nice 90. This pipe's a little long. The bead's about right here, but it's not really hurting anything, so we'll leave it. Boom, down into the intercooler, across, out of the intercooler, around, clamp, boom, up, throttle body. It does look weird having this 3-inch go into like a 4-inch throttle body, but there's really no need for 4-inch intercooler piping on this project, at least not yet. I do want to build an air inlet. I'm hoping I can get a 4-inch 90 with a tight enough radius to bring us over here. I definitely want to run full-size 4-inch to this turbo. We're going to be trying to suck in a lot of air, make a good amount of power. We need as much diameter on that intake pipe as we can get. I don't really want to run an open turbo. I don't want to put a filter right here, right behind the radiator fans, or it's just going to get blasted. So we'll definitely have to do something there. But again, one step at a time. We are surely getting there with this thing, man. I'm stoked. One big fab project out of the way. A couple more to do, wiring. You guys know the drill. We're cruising. We're cruising right along. So I think that's going to be it for now. I hope to see you guys next time. We're going to be diving into the vet build soon. Got some stuff we need to figure out with that so we can get parts ordered, so on and so forth. Again, you guys know the drill. Always projects, always things going on. We're going drifting for probably the last time ever that this track will have any sort of racing, so that's a big thing, and I'm jibber-jabbering, aren't I? I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I just want to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and that'll see you next time. Goodbye.